Britt?
She just said, all I do is grow leaves for you, Jill. I need her to water my plants because I'm leaving.
Yeah, we're gonna, the little Britt and Jill show's gonna take a slight hiatus, but Jill's gonna be on her own adventures. I might have a feature guest. He's fine. No, I'm just kidding, Michael's great. But he's a real Joe Biden. I don't know who we want to pick today for the most charismatic man in the world, but we'll just pick Michael.
He's a good dude. I'm going on some California adventures to some wineries that I will be tasting and bringing you all the goods virtually. So stay tuned for that. You'll be able to find out more about it on my Instagram page. Britt will feature some stuff in the clipping, and you can follow me on it's tomato_bisque. It says it, I think, at the beginning of Tannic Grips. Shall we, Campania?
Yeah, we're going to drink some wines from Campania. We were discussing kind of some fun options for just other Italian stuff. I think people really tend to fix Italy is just insane in, like, I mean, that can be argued about a lot of different wine regions, but it's so, there's thousands of indigenous grape varietals just in that country alone. So a lot of people kind of tend to fixate. People love Tuscany, people love Sicily, people love Piedmont, and so we thought we'd kind of just pivot to maybe a place that people are familiar with because of pizza, because it's Naples. Go Campania.
It's volcanic. There's Vesuvius. I was going to put my...
Pompeii.
It is. I was going to put my leg up on here so that we could start talking about shins, because Campania is located where the shin of the boot would be. And Britt, very appropriately said, Jill, I think people know where the shins are if you say it. So you don't need to see my shin on the table.
There could possibly be imagery here of like a spinning shin feature.
And there may be. But why don't we jump to a producer that we're going to feature, who is probably one of the shining gems in this area for natural wine, Cantina Giardino. And we have here Antonio and Daniela De Grutola. I read it because it's just De Grutola. And they are in the heart of Naples in a place called Irpinia, which is very close to the town of Avellino, for those of you that know a little bit of southern Italian geography. All volcanic soils here, like I alluded to.
Yes.
Vesuvius. There's a lot of volcanic activity there. And what we have in our glass, I guess, should we go there first?
Yeah, let's go there.
I'm thirsty.
Yeah. It's awesome, too. I don't know. This is a fun, again, no seasonal drinking, but sometimes there's things that feel right during a certain time of year, and fall is just entering Libra season. We're going to hit a little astrology.
Yes. It's the Barolo of the South, they say. Yeah. Aglianico, this grape, is the Barolo of the South. And so we wanted to talk about a grape called Le Fole, Fole, which is their Aglianico, probably one of their more serious Aglianicos that we have access to here. It has about a month of maceration on the skin, so you get all the goodness of those skins and that juice in those seeds, just you
get the scale balance. Bring it back to astrology. You get acid and you get tannin, as well as fruit, especially with this wine.
Whoa.
That's some grip.
That's some, what do we got that? I don't know.
That's a 6. It's
6 out of 7.
It's you want this. I will say this, for as high as this is in tannin, arguably our highest Tannic Grip so far. I would say that it's incredibly bold, but it's incredibly fresh and fruit forward. This would be super interesting the next day, actually. I haven't had this particular wine the next day, but I think Aglianico is a very interesting grape in that it's got a lot of structure and stuff, but still always a lot of freshness and acidity on that finish. So
little bit of anise, black licorice on the finish too. This spends 2 years in local chestnut cask, which I think is really interesting to note, because most people that are using wood around the world are using American oak or French oak, and if they're using chestnut, sometimes it's not local. So these guys are, and guy and gal, are trying to really make use of what they have around. So Le Fole, delicious stuff. 6-ish on the Tannic Grips. Yeah, on our scale of 7.
It's got this is a food wine, 100%. It's wonderful. I mean, it's fun right out the gate. but it would be like, this is like your heavier meat, like wine for sure.
Yeah, for sure. To piggyback off that in the same bottle format, we have a wine called Volpe Rosa, which is probably one of the more rare grapes in the shop. We got a mere case of it, and Volpe Rosa makes a mention of the grape Cote de Volpe, but Rosa. So Cote de Volpe means foxtail, which is, there's a white foxtail and a red foxtail in the world in that area. But oh, lo and behold, Italy likes to juggle things up a bit. And what happens? Mutations, people. Mutations happen after centuries. And here we have a rosato, or a rosé clone or mutation that happened naturally in the vineyard. And here we have it in a bottle for your drinking pleasure. This spends a mere 2 days on the skins and in amphora.
Yeah.
Sandstone amphora and some chestnut.
Yeah, it also has some chestnut, so that's a continuation of what we saw in the first. It's kind of the grapes itself. I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a foxtail, how it is on the vine, like this big, beautiful.
Can you do that again?
This foxtail on the vine.
I would have guessed that if we were playing charades together. I would have been like, that's
good. And I'm like, no, it's a movie, and this is for Titanic because I make no sense. But
I think I would have gotten it, man. You're pretty good at that.
But yeah, it's a cool one.
It's a really lush wine. Like, it's got a lot of power, even though it's a rosé. Really beautiful, ripe fruits, and just an absolute delight. You get a little bit of that volcanic kind of, I noticed that the volcanic ashy nature is kind of in the tannin, which is really cool, in the mid palate, and you get a lot of that here too. It's a really fun rosé that I hope you get to drink because there's just not a lot of it.
Do you know anything about the artwork that they use on their bottles more, because they switch it up? Like, that they feature different artists, to my knowledge, kind of like...
No, but it reminds me of Dante's Inferno, so if anybody's...
It reminds me of a different experience that I've had that I'm not going to mention, but it wasn't bad.
See, to me it reminds me of Purgatory, which is surely where I'm going, so...
It reminds me a little bit of Purgatory, but I moved past that in the state that I was in.
Oh, love it.
Wait for the blooper reel.
It's true. We do have a blooper reel coming. So we decided who gets to hang on to the Magnum, because we both want the Magnum.
Again,
it's the Magnum.
Come on. Who doesn't want this?
We got Magnums of Cantina Giardino because we love them so much. And this is their Aglianico, and it is aged, I believe it's aged in amphora, and there might be a little bit of chestnut here. I've only ever had this one time, and it was deep and it was dense. It had a little bit less of a dense nature than the Le Fol. It was a little bit more kind of quaffable and fun, but with some of the edges that amphora can bring. But really a special wine and really delicious, and it's a Magnum. I mean, who doesn't want a Magnum? And it's less than $50.
Yeah.
That's less than a $25 wine. Why aren't we opening that right now?
I don't know.
Maybe there'll only be one left. Last but certainly not least, is the Vino Rosato Frizzante. So if we ever play charades together, I'm going to go like this.
This is Frizzante.
Frizzante. I'm going to give you a heart and the bottle shape. The heart and the bottle shape.
It's a Frizzante, yeah.
What's cool about this is they harvested some Aglianico. They let it macerate on the skins just for one night, which you can tell how dark and deep and dense Aglianico has the potential to get just by looking at the color. And here, what they did was they put it in the bottle after it was already dry, a dry dark rosé, and they sprinkled a little bit of Aglianico must or grape juice. And that started a second fermentation in bottle. They put the crown cap on it here, and you're left with a wine that technically is made like a champagne, second fermentation in bottle, but it doesn't have the full-on effervescence of like a hardcore champagne. It's more of like a Prosecco meets a pet nat, so that's why they call it Frizzante instead of like a traditional method. It's so good.
It's, like, this
is what I would do with it right now.
And that's where.
This is my charades. but without a
super quaffable wine from Campania, Italy.
Yes!
I don't know, it's so good. That one's like, I was remembering having had it with you at a restaurant a while back, and it was just like, it's so whimsical, like, but it still has, that doesn't take away any reason to not take it seriously and be thoughtful about it, which I think is super, like, I think that's what makes the best wine the most interesting, is like when you can be like super pleasant, but you're also like, it, like, again, if you want to go there and really think about it, it's super cool. It's like a weird Leonico, like strange, like little rosé from this odd little producer that are just like doing this super cool natural wine thing, like mostly organic, all spontaneous, like, you know, no additives,
all the things,
like all the things.
All the things. What's cool about them is they don't have any temperature control. So
Yeah.
and even in a lot of natural wine cellars, there's temperature control for vessels or in their space, and so they're just really at the helm of, you know, or at the whims of, like, if nature is warmer, if it's cooler in the winter. I mean, this is a full-bodied rosé. This has some as much body as a lot of California cabs. So just to give you an idea of rosé with that kind of power, that's what this producer and the weather and the grapes they're using give, as wines with power. But in this situation, like Britt was saying, something you can think about, but you can also just kind of drink
and it's so fun. I don't know. I think that all these wines are kind of in that vein, and it's like whimsy and fun in Campania.
Whimsy and fun in Campania. Tannic Grips.
Tannic Grips.
Drink the shin.